Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome to Circle Time in Miss Sarah's kitchen. Today is Thursday, and we are rocking through this YouTube school, aren't we? Miss Sarah is kind of having a hard time. Honestly, I miss you guys so much. It is a lot easier to see your sweet faces and to talk to you about what you're interested in than to talk to my phone with Isaac behind it. Not that we don't love Isaac, but you know what I mean. But I am glad that we're going to be here together because at least I know that you're going to get to see some of the fun stuff we would have done at school. In fact, today I've got some really cool stuff to show you. I think you're going to really like it. We always start with the same thing in Miss Sarah's class during circle time, and that is the scripture. Our scripture this month is from John. The address is John 14:6. 14:6. So if you were to go in your Bible, then you would go to John and go down to chapter 14, verse 6. And that is and we're going to point up because we're talking about God. I am the way, I am the truth, and I am the life. Those are the signs from American Sign Language. Let's do it one more time. Because we're talking about God, we're going to point up. I am the way, the truth, and the life. I love that God talks to us through the Bible. That makes me feel so special that He loves us enough that He can talk to us anytime through His Word. That's awesome. Oh my goodness. Isaac, where's my flag? Can you hand that to me, please? My flag's all the way over there. Isaac's going to hand it to me. After our pledge, after our scripture, we say the Pledge of Allegiance. Here we go. You ready? So everybody stand up. Stand up. And we're going to put your right hand, that's this hand right here. You look this way, it's this hand right here. We're going to put your right hand on your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much. Normally we would sing God Bless America right now, but Miss Sarah is still recovering from the worst sinus infection and ear infection, and I cannot sing or hear. And my children made fun of me last week when I sang, so I'm not going to do it this week. But you should, at home, you sing God Bless America, because I know you know the words. Okay? Now, we're going to talk about the calendar. Here's our good old calendar. Alright, so we already said today is Thursday. We know we're in the month of April still. So we're going to come down, and that makes today the 23rd. April 23rd, and it's a Thursday. So let's get our days of the week right here. And we're going to take this off and put it on Thursday. So today is Thursday, which means yesterday was Wednesday, and tomorrow will be Friday. Yay, Friday. Okay, so let's sing our days of the week song. I need you to sing with me, okay? There's Monday and there's Tuesday. There's Wednesday and there's Thursday. There's Friday and there's Saturday. Then there's Sunday. Days of the week. Days of the week. Days of the week. Days of the week. Great job, boys and girls. I know you all know your days of the week. You're going to go to kindergarten and your teachers are going to be like, wow, these kiddos know everything. Let's do our month. Do you remember what month we're currently in? April. And what do we do when we get to the month we're currently in? Do we say it quiet? Do we say it loud? Oh, Miss Sarah's sore throat. Yes, we say it loud. Okay, you ready? There's January, February, March, and April, May, June, July, and August. September, October, November, December, 12 months in the year. What did I forget to do? Isaac, what did I forget to do? I forgot to yell April, didn't I? Did I yell April? I don't think I did. We're going to do it again. I'm sorry, you guys. Miss Sarah's on a lot of sinus medication. Let's try it again. January, February, March, and April! May, June, July, and August. September, October, November, December. 12 months in the year. Thank you guys. And thank you for still loving Miss Sarah, even if I don't always get things exactly perfect. It's a lot harder than doing this in our classroom. So I don't always get my videos perfect, but I know that you're still following along and we're making this through this together, aren't we? Okay, so let's talk about our ABCs. Do you remember the letter that we talked about on Tuesday? Our Y. Can you see that up there, Isaac? You see my Y? Yes? Maybe? Okay. All right. So, here we go. The A says A. The B says B. The C says K. And the D says D. The E says E. The F says F. The G says G. And the H says H. The I says I. The J says J. The K says K. And the L says L. The M says M. The N says N. The O says And the P says P. The Q says Qu. The R says R. The S says S. And the T says T. The U says The V says V. The W says W. And the X says X. The Y says Y. The Y says Y. Every letter has a sound. The Y says Y. Good job, boys and girls. I know you know your Y. And we only have one letter left in our alphabet. Does anybody know what it is? We're going to talk about it next week. Actually, maybe the week after. We're going to talk about the last letter of the alphabet, which is Z. Z for zebra. Okay. So, did you make your yo-yo picture? Did you go on YouTube and look at people yo-yoing? I hope you did. Tomorrow on our Zoom call, I'm going to ask you. Did you go on YouTube and watch people yodeling? Did you try to yodel? I bet you were a lot better than Miss Sarah was. I bet you were. Did you make your paper with lots of Y's on it? Did you write your Y's for me? Oh, some of you did. Some of you didn't. Y'all go back and write those if you haven't already, okay? So today is actually Thursday, but yesterday on Wednesday was something called Earth Day. Earth is the planet that we live on in our solar system. Our planet is called Earth. God made the earth. We know that because it tells us in the Bible that God made everything on the earth. And we have a whole day just to celebrate the earth. Isn't that cool? So one of the things that I like about the earth the best is something called science. And that is a bunch of laws or things that always happen wherever you are in the world. They always happen the same way. And one of the best ways that you can check those cool things out is by doing science experiments. Have you ever done a science experiment before? We've done some in class, and we've even done a couple on our videos. But today we're going to do some more so we can see how the earth makes certain things happen through science. The first thing I want to do is something called sink or float. Sink or float is this game. I took this is a vase of water. You can use a bowl. You can use your sink. You can use your bathtub. You can go outside and use a bucket. Any of those things would be fun. And I want you to grab some things around your house. And I want you to put them all together. And we're going to have a science experiment to see what sinks. Sinks means it's going to fall all the way down to the bottom. Or does it float? Cool, right? We're going to see if do only heavy things sink, or do sometimes light things sink? Do only light things that don't weigh very much float on the top? Or do sometimes things that are heavy float on top, like a big boat? I don't know. I've got a few things in my bowl for us to try. I have first, you know how we feel about these at Miss Sarah's house. I have a little plastic snake. Do you think this plastic snake is going to float, or do you think it's going to sink? Let's find out. Isaac, are you real close on my base here, babe? Okay. Let's put my snake in the water. He's kind of sinking. That surprises me a little. I kind of thought my snake was going to float because he doesn't weigh very much at all. He's very light. Interesting. All right, I'm going to reach in there. Isaac, there's some paper towels right beside you on the counter. Can you hand them to me, please? I'm going to take out my snake here. Now let's try, an egg. I have an egg. This egg came straight from Miss Stephanie's farm and one of her chickens. This is a very fresh egg, straight out of the chicken. Do you think it's going to float, or do you think it's going to sink? I don't know. It sank right to the bottom. Wow, that's very cool. Did you know that eggs sink? Very neat. I'm going to pull that out. We're going to use this egg again in a few minutes. Okay, did you see that one coming? How about, remember when we went to the pumpkin patch and we did the gems? This is one of the gems we got from the pumpkin patch. So basically a shiny rock. See my shiny rock? I'm going to put it here. It went straight to the bottom and it went clink, clink. It sank. Sank is the word for when it goes straight to the bottom. All right, let's take that out. I have some of the Ruth's toys now. Let's see, this is a camel. A little plastic camel. Camels are heavy. Toy camels are light. What do you think? Is this going to sink or is it going to float? Any predictions? Predictions. Predictions is when you think about something that's going to happen. Like you say, I think that this camel is going to float. Or, I think this camel is going to sink. That would be your prediction. Let's try it. That camel floats. See how he's at the top? And I can poke him down. And no matter where we were in the world, if we were in Arkansas, or we were in China, or we were in Australia, this camel would always float. Because science is the same all the way around the world. Okay? Now I have a little rattly ball. Smiley face on it. See that? But it has holes in it. Do you think it's going to sink because it has holes? Or do you think it's going to float? Let's see. Ooh, that one really floats. Look, I can even push it down and it pops right back up. That's a float. Float. Got two more things to try. Oh, here's Ruth's ducky. See her ducky? Quack, 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 quack. Do you think the ducky is going to float or sink? Real ducks can float, don't they? They swim on top of the water to get fish. Let's see if this one floats or sinks. Oh, he floats. Okay, one last thing. Ooh, Micah calls this a diamond, but it's a crystal. See how pretty that is? It's got, see how the light goes through it in lots of different ways? It's also really heavy. Do you think it's going to float or sink? Isaac, what do you think? What's your prediction? You don't have a prediction? My prediction is that it's going to sink. Let's see if Sarah's right. Oh, did you hear that? It sank right to the bottom. Really loud. Cool. So boys and girls, I want you to play this game at home. Do the science experiment at home with your mom and dad's permission, of course. And I want you to play sink or float, okay? Then I want you to draw a picture and show me what you're doing this experiment, okay? We're going to make kind of a little science journal today. Okay, that was fun. Let's do some other science experiments. I'm going to put my jar of water over here. And now, let's see here. Ooh, we're going to use that egg again. I have another jar here. And this jar is full of something called vinegar. Have you ever heard of vinegar before? Vinegar can be used for cooking or cleaning, or we use ours to dye Easter eggs in our house. In fact, we're going to use an egg today. So if at home you have some vinegar, then have your mom pour you some in a jar like this. And then you're going to take another egg. I'm going to take the same egg that we just saw sink to the bottom. And you're going to take it and you're going to put it in the vinegar. Do you think it's going to float or sink because of the vinegar? I think it's going to sink. What do you think, Isaac? Think it's going to sink? Now, this science experiment is going to take a few days. So just like we have to wait for our chrysalises to turn into butterflies, this one you're going to need to wait a couple of days on. So just trust me on this one. Take your egg, put it in the vinegar. There it is. It's down there. And we're going to just put it over here to the side. And we're not going to touch it for like 3 to 4 days. Okay? Maybe next Tuesday when we get back together. We'll all look at our eggs together then. Would that be okay with you? Okay. So we're starting this science experiment now. This might be a good experiment for us to make a hypothesis on. Do you know what a hypothesis is? A hypothesis is a prediction that you can test. So we know a prediction is a guess at what's going to happen in the future, right? So we're going to test and see what's going to happen to this egg. Does anybody have any guesses? Isaac, what do you think is going to happen to this egg? Is it going to turn into an Easter egg? Is it going to get all cooked in the vinegar? I have a hypothesis that it's going to change a lot. My hypothesis is that this egg is going to change. So we're going to test it by putting it in the vinegar. And we'll come back to it on Tuesday, okay? So y'all try this one at home if you have the stuff to do it. Moms and dads, please do not go to the grocery store to get stuff for science experiments. We're making do with what we've got. Which takes me to this next experiment we're going to do. Sarah has lots of jars. Do you have jars at your house? We have lots of jars in our house. I'm a sucker for buying handmade, home-cooked stuff. Okay, so I have 2 jars. And I have some water. This water is straight out of my sink. And we're going to put some water in one of my jars. Just like that. Now, my Science for Preschoolers book says to use food coloring. You know what? I got quarantined without food coloring. I never thought to put food coloring on my essential food list. But I had something else I could use. I got some of these out of Micah and Ruth's bathroom. It's color bath drops. Have you ever had these? They're fun. You should try them. But when you have these turn your bath colors, lots of pretty colors. So I'm going to take one out. Not quite sure what color this is yet. We're going to find out. And I'm going to put it in my jar of water. If you have food coloring, just put food coloring in your water. If you have bath drops, use a bath drop. If you have, a dried out old marker that you think is broken, you could put that in your water. I think that would work too. That's a good science experiment to find out. So I'm going to put this bath drop in my water. And we're going to see what happens. Ooh, it's changing colors, isn't it? Do you see that? What color does that look like to you, Isaac? I'm going to stir it up a little. Does that look like green or yellow to you? Green? I think that's turning green. Green, green, green. And as it dissolves, it'll get even more green. Okay. So now we're going to test and see how water could go up stuff. Did you know that water can go uphill? Isn't that cool? Gravity tells us, gravity is also part of science, that everything comes down. But water can travel up if it's got the right stuff to help it. So I took a paper towel. This is just a plain old Walmart green paper towel. And I'm going to put it in the water. And then I'm going to put this end in my jar, like this. Do you see that? Now, we're going to let that sit for a second while we talk, and then we'll come back to it, okay? We're going to see what happens there. Last night, Micah and I tried this experiment with 2 jars of color. Micah had a hypothesis that if you put blue in one jar and yellow in another jar, the colors. That the yellow would go this way and the blue would go this way. And then we thought maybe it would meet in the middle and make what color? What color comes from yellow and blue? Does anybody know? Isaac?
Is it green?
It's green. You're right. So, and you can kind of look and see, we've let this one sit overnight. Can you zoom in there, Isaac, and see, is it working? Do you see how the blue water has gone up over into this jar? And the yellow water has gone up into this jar? And kind of at the very bottom, it's thinking green. Can you see that? Yeah, cool. So we're going to let this one sit another day and see if we can get all the water to go back and forth. I don't know if we can or not. We're testing our hypothesis. So we'll see that. Okay, well that one's sitting for another minute. Let's talk about some more science experiments that you could do at home. You could take some baking soda and mix it with some more vinegar, and you could maybe make a little tiny volcano. Miss Nicole did that on one of her videos. Did you watch that video with her Miss Nicole's volcano? That was awesome. That would be a fun one to try. Another thing you could do is just get a plate and put a little bit of milk in it and put in some dish soap and see what happens. I want someone to try that. So basically, here's your homework for this weekend, okay? I want you to do at least one science experiment. One science experiment. It does not have to be any of these. These can just be ideas. You can look on the internet. You can design your own science experiment. But I want you to do a science experiment. And then I want you to take a piece of paper and your crayons, and I want you to draw me a picture of your science experiment and have your mom or dad help you write out at the top what your science experiment is, okay? And then I want to see them, so take a picture of it and send it to me so I can see what your science experiment was. Part of a good scientist is always recording your results. That means writing down what happened to your science experiment, okay? So we're going to let my green water go a little bit more, and I'm going to read you a story. This is a good Earth Day story, but it's also a good story about the letter Y. What does the Y say? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Some of you may recognize this book from my classroom. This is one of my favorite books, and see how it's kind of falling apart on the spine here? This book is so old. Very, 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 very old. But it's a good one. This book is called Yertle the Turtle by Dr. Seuss. Can you see the pictures well, Isaac? Or are my jars in the way? I need to move my jar center. Is that better? Okay. On the faraway island of Salamasond, Yertle the Turtle was king of the pond. A nice little pond. It was clean. It was neat. The water was warm. There was plenty to eat. The turtles had everything turtles might need, and they were all happy. Quite happy indeed. Hopefully you boys and girls can hear Miss Sarah. My voice is starting to go away. They weren't until Yertle, the king of them all, decided the kingdom he ruled was too small. I'm ruler, said Yertle, of all that I see, but I don't see enough. That's the trouble with me. Isaac, could you give me some water, please? But I don't see enough. That's the trouble with me. With a stone for a throne, I look down on my pond, but I cannot look down on the places beyond. The throne that I sit on is too low down. It ought to be higher. It ought to be higher, he said with a frown. If I could sit high, how much greater I'd be. What a king. I'd be ruler of all that I see. He wants to be the ruler, huh? Interesting. So Yertle the Turtle King lifted his head, and Yertle the Turtle King gave a command. He ordered 9 turtles to swim to his stone. Sorry about that, boys and girls. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9. He said 9. And using these turtles, he built a new throne. He made each turtle stand on one another's back, and he piled them all up in a 9 turtle stack. And then Yertle climbed up. He sat down on the pile. What a wonderful view. He could see almost a mile. See him up there? Really, really high? Oh, mine, Yertle cried. Oh, the things I now rule. I'm the king of a cow. I'm the king of a mule. I'm king of a house. And what's more beyond that, I'm king of a blueberry bush and a cat. I'm Yertle the turtle, a marvelous me, for I am the ruler of all that I see. Look at him up there. Look at those poor little turtles. See him over here? And all through the morning he sat there up high, saying over and over, a great king am I, until long about noon. Then he heard a faint sigh. What's that? Snapped the king, and he looked down the stack, and he saw at the bottom a turtle named Mac, just a part of his throne. And this plain little turtle looked up and he said, beg your pardon, King Yertle. I've pains in my back and my shoulders and knees. How long must we stand here, your majesty, please? Silence! The king of the turtles barked back. I'm the king, and you're just a turtle named Mac. You stay in your place while I sit here and rule. I'm king of a cow. I'm king of a mule. I'm king of a house and a bush and a cat. But that isn't all. I'll do better than that. My throne shall be higher. His royal voice thundered. So pile up more turtles. I want about 200. Oh my goodness. 200 turtles? Do you think there's that many turtles in his pond? Turtles, more turtles, he bellowed and brayed, and the turtles way down in the pond were afraid. They trembled, they shook, but they came, they obeyed. From all over the pond they came swimming by dozens, whole families of turtles with uncles and cousins, and all of them stepped on the head of poor Mac. One after another they climbed up the stack. Oh no. Then Yertle the turtle was perched up so high he could see 40 miles from his throne in the sky. Hooray! Shouted Yertle. I'm king of the trees. I'm king of the birds, and I'm king of the bees. I'm king of the butterflies, king of the air. Ah, me, what a throne, what a wonderful chair. I'm Yertle the turtle, a marvelous me, for I am the ruler of all that I see. Look at all those turtles. Can you see those really well, Isaac? Yeah, okay. Then, again, from below, in the great heavy stack, came a groan from that plain little turtle named Mac. Your Majesty, please. I don't like to complain, but down here below we are feeling great pain. I know up on top you were seeing great sights, but down at the bottom we too have rights. We turtles can't stand it. Our shells will all crack. Besides, we need food. We're starving, groaned Mac. You hush up your mouth, howled the mighty King Yertle. You've no right to talk to the world's biggest turtle. I rule from the clouds, over land, over sea. There's nothing, no, nothing that's higher than me. Wow. Do you think that's true? Do you think Yertle is the tallest thing ever? I don't know. But while he was shouting, he saw with surprise that the moon of the evening was starting to rise. Up over his head in the darkening skies. What's that? Snorted Yertle. Say, what is that thing that dares to be higher than Yertle the king? I shall not allow it. I'll go higher still. I'll build my throne higher. I can and I will. I'll call some more turtles. I'll stack up till heaven. I need about 4,607. That's a lot of turtles, I think. Look down here. Look at all those turtles. Wow. But as Yertle the Turtle King lifted his hand and started to order and give the command, that plain little turtle below in the stack, that plain little turtle whose name was just Mac, decided he'd taken enough, and he had. And that plain little lad got a little bit mad, and that plain little Mac did a plain little thing. He burped, and his burp shook the throne of the king. Here he goes. Brr. Brr. Okay, science. If the thing on the bottom burps and shakes the whole tower, what is your hypothesis of what's going to happen? Isaac, do you have a hypothesis?
I've heard this book before.
You're so helpful. My hypothesis is if the tower shakes, it might fall down. Hypothesis is a theory, a question that you can test. So let's see. Yertle the turtle, the king of the trees, the king of the air and the birds and the bees, the king of a house and a cow and a mule. Well, that was the end of the turtle king's rule. For Yertle, the king of all solemn massage, fell off his high throne and fell plunk into the pond. My hypothesis was correct. We tested it, didn't we? And today, the great Yertle, that marvelous he, is king of the mud. That is all he can see. And the turtles, of course, all the turtles are free. As turtles and maybe all creatures should be. What do you think about that, boys and girls? Do you see that? Do you think that one turtle should be in charge of all the other turtles in the pond? I don't think so. Do you think that one person should be in charge of all the other people? I don't think so either. I think just God should be in charge. That's such a good story. I love that story. Even if it is really, really old. It's a good one. Okay, let's check on the science experiment real quick. Isaac, come over here with your camera, please. Hoping that you can see with this green color. Yep, it's definitely working. Can you see on can you see on the camera there for it was white here and it's starting to turn green, Isaac? Yep. So the water is going uphill. Uphill. I don't know, that really looks yellow instead of green to me, doesn't it? Is that like yellow? Like it's going uphill. Very cool. So we'll let that one sit. And on Tuesday when we come back, we're going to look on our egg and see what happens there. Oh wow, look, our egg is floating. Do you see that? Our egg that sank in the water has started to float in the vinegar. Interesting. That's very interesting. I also am observing it has bubbles. Okay, cool. So we're going to go, and I will see you guys on Tuesday, and I love you so much. You can pray for Miss Sarah to get better if you want to. Love you guys. See you soon. Bye-bye.